Good afternoon, welcome to this week's edition of CopaLoadofRacing, and apologies, this has been the first vlog for a few weeks. I've been on holiday where I couldn't get a reception down there, couldn't even get a phone reception, never mind 3G, and last week work took over and I just couldn't manage to get the vlog on. But back again this week, and we're looking forward to the Goodwood Festival, which is now called Qatar Goodwood Festival, where it's been running for the past few days. Some big races, of course, there. Stradivarius, for me, it was a cracking race in the Goodwood Cup, and he's certainly now going for, you would imagine he'll be now going to York for the Yorkshire Cup. Or is it the Lonsdale Cup? I always get mixed up with the two long distance races there. But yeah, I think he's still in for that big £1 million bonus there. But tomorrow, of course, the Saturday. The Saturday card's certainly been a little bit decimated over the past year or so at Goodwood. The Nassau Stakes, of course, used to be run on the Saturday, but that's been moved. So it's predominantly handicap races, which is great for punters in some respects, bad in other ways because they're big runners, big fields. The only group race of that day is the Qatar Gordon Stakes, which is a Group 3 contest. But the consolation race is at 150, and Jim Goldie actually sends down a couple of horses in this race. Tommy G is one of them, and actually he's booked Sylvester de Souza for that ride. It's roughly around about 25 to 1 at the moment, Tommy G. The horse at the head of the market's the Fahey horse, Militia, who had won last time out at Ayr back at Monday, actually. He's going to run under a penalty because of that, but he's still pretty unexposed, so has plenty of opportunity there. But the other horse of Jim Goldie's is Golden Steps, around about 12 to 1. Jim's won this consolation race before, and of course has won the big race with Hawkeye the New. But Golden Steps comes into this consistent enough sorts, been running over the 5 furlongs a lot. But this horse actually won this race 3 years ago, and you know, is coming into, as I say, a decent bit of form. Second and third last time out respectively. Big field handicaps. Robert Winston booked it for the ride as well, as a positive in my view, and I think he has a good shout there at 12s there. That is Golden Steps for Jim Goldie. At 225 we're up with the Qatar Summer Handicap. 1 mile and 6 is the distance there for this one, and Jim has sent down Sir Chauvelin for this. Now I've put him up a few times in these races, mostly just down to the fact that he's always seemed to be in good form of late. He's been a little bit unlucky. Ran in that new race at Newbury last time out. Again, had to come wide. George Downham was on board that day. And the winner, the Mullins horse that won that race, the Tony Bloom horse, was way out. And I don't think it would have beaten him anyway. But if he can get a better trip this time, Robert Winston again's booked for Goldie. I think this horse has a hell of a chance at a bigger price. A couple of other ones that I'll take. Two of Mark Johnson's horses. You can't avoid Mark. He's had a good festival already. Waters Meet, cracking, consistent enough sort. We looked, competed well in the Northumberland Plate back at Newcastle in June. Maybe not as good in the race before that at Chester Cup, but I think he's had a bit of a break, so should come into this in a bit of form, and with good heart. And you know, he's also, as I say, Mark's targeting these races. He's got Soldier in action as well. Sophia's Rock has been a good horse when it runs to its form. Obviously, you get good horses when they run to form, and at times you just don't know with Mark's horses. They can come in and out of form, but Sophia's Rock's around about 14s as well, and could run a big race in that one. The Gordon Stakes is sadly just a 4-runner race, but it's very competitive in the terms. You've got 13-8 for DXB, who was runner-up, of course, in the Epsom Derby. 11-4 Sun Maiden for Ryan Moore and Michael Stout, who's had a winner today at Goodwood. Cross Counter for Charlie Appleby and William Bukes, 5-2, and couldn't be ruled out either. And then you have the outsider of them, 11-1, not a massive outsider as such. Won at Doncaster last month. That's Bombay X. Daniel Muscat takes a ride there for James Fanshawe. I just don't know with this race. DXB has been in and out of form. Didn't run well at all in the Irish Derby. Ran a better race in the Grand Prix de Paris. But this is a drop in class, and I wouldn't put you off, as I say. Then we have the big race of the day, the Heritage Handicap, which is the Stewards Cup, the Unibet Stewards Cup. This is one hell of a race to get your teeth stuck into, as it always is, year after year. And I am at a bigger price. You know, you can look at somebody like a horse like Poyle Vinny, for example, for Roof Car at 33-1. Consistent enough in terms of being in and out in the placings most of the time in his runs, but he's not won for around about 13 starts. That's not to say that he can't turn up tomorrow and run better, but did run reasonably well, I thought, last time out over the 5, so could be coming in here in decent enough heart. You also have the Fahey team, who target this race quite religiously, as most trainers would do so. He's got Growl and the likes of that in this race, and George Bowen, who Sebastian Moods takes off a handy £5. And he won at Hamilton. He won the Scottish version of this race at Hamilton last Saturday, or was it 2 Saturdays ago, sorry. So with that handy 5 still coming off his back, even though he's running under a penalty, I think he has a good chance, George Bowen, and many else do, more so a lot of other punters do. That's how he's trading around 14s at the moment. Lancelot Delac has won this race, was it last year? Under Frankie Dettori. He's not really hit the heights after that as such, in and out of form, but this place may bring back some form to him. Gunmetal's been a horse that for Ted Barron that I've won. He changed to Ted Barron's stable, and that's given him some good heart. And I think he's one to mark in this race at 25s. Under Ben Curtis, who again, I think Ben Curtis is in really excellent form himself at the moment. And as I say, I wouldn't rule him out of producing a good performance there. Looking at a quick look at Thirsk, the 250 tomorrow. One horse I'll give a shout to, Rebecca Menzies, is in good form, and this horse won at Musselburgh when I was there over a week ago for their meeting. It was a small running field, that's for sure, but he'll need to produce more on that form to win this, but certainly has got that. Rebecca herself's in decent form. Now there's racing tomorrow night at Hamilton. They've got a good meeting on there. First race is at 5:50. I'll pick out 2 for you. The 720, their big race of the day, the Soba Stakes conditions race over 5. The horse that I'll mark up for that is Paul Midgley's Tarbush. Dougie Costello goes up to take the ride there. Useful horse, this. Won a minor race at Newmarket a couple of weeks ago. Won it pretty well. So Paul Midgley again. It goes without saying, he's always good and strong in these sprint races, but he seems to do well, and no harm in sending up a horse here to Hamilton. He does pretty well in Scotland, does Paul. Another one that I'll look at for you for the next couple of races, and I picked one out, and I've now lost my place here where it was and what horse it was. Was it in the Lucky Last? May have been, may not have been. Yeah, it was in the Lucky Last. Now, Chinese Spirit for local trainer to me down in Galston, Michael Smith. Now this is he's got this horse does reasonably well at Ayr, and although others might look a bit more attractive, I think under Jamie Gormley has a wee chance here of sneaking something. It's in 8 runners at the moment, and if it stays the 8, then I think Chinese Spirit might be worth a wee punt each way. If it's the dead 8, that's Chinese Spirit. So if you're off to Hamilton tomorrow, have a great time. It's a cracking track, as I've always said on this, and they always do well with these big Saturday night meetings. I think the gates will be opened early, and you can go along and enjoy some of the festivities that will be put on there by the track. And hopefully, I think the weather looks to be not bad tomorrow as well. As long as it's dry, that's the main thing, isn't it? And enjoy the racing. I'll be back same time, same place next week with another vlog for you. Enjoy your racing. Hope you get some wins. I'll refresh my tips on Twitter. As I say, I've gave you a few choices in those big field handicaps to throw a few quid each way at, and maybe Jim Goldie tomorrow could have a wee profitable day down in the Sussex Downs. CopaLoadofRacing, folks. Have a good week.